It's Michael Houghton here for the Under 8 Hockey Fundamentals, Lesson 3, Goal Shooting. So, I've already covered two lesson plans before this. This is number 3, which is our goal shooting this week. We're going to be doing a warm-up, which will be Stuck in the Mud. We'll do Activity 1, which is a game I call Infinite Goals. We'll then do a drill, which is Right Side Attack. And we'll go into Activity 2, which is 2v1 goal shooting. And then we'll play a game to finish. Let's have a look at this in detail. So first we'll do a warm-up game called Stuck in the Mud. So many of you might be familiar with the standard kind of kids game, which is Stuck in the Mud, which is basically where you would have some attackers and you have some defenders, or some players that would basically be looking to tag. If you're tagged, you're then stuck in the mud. So you'd have to stand like that with your legs apart as well until somebody crawled under your legs, and then you'd be freed. So in this case, we're going to be doing hockey stuck in the mud. So basically, we will define an area. The circle can be a really good space. Otherwise, just cone an area off. Every child will take a ball except for 2 or 3 defenders. So if we have, say, 12 kids in our group, then we might have 2 or 3 defenders that don't have the ball. Basically, the kids with the ball will start, they'll dribble in the area, and the defenders will then try and tackle the players who have the ball. If an attacker is tackled, then they will be stuck in the mud. So that's that symbol here. They just hold their hockey stick, they're stuck in the mud. And the other attackers need to try and look up, get their head up, which is great for getting the head up while dribbling, look for a player that's stuck, and then dribble their ball through the stuck player's legs to free them. If that player is freed, they're given a ball and they can continue to dribble. Otherwise, the defenders will try and get everybody stuck, and then the game is over. Basically, the game is won by the defenders when everybody is caught and everybody's stuck in the mud, or it's won by the attackers where the attackers continually free the ball up and the defenders can't tackle enough players. So how you'll find this would typically end, it'll either end when everybody's stuck, or the coach will need to give it a time after, say, 2 or 3 minutes, and if the players are still going, then that means the attackers win. So very, very simple, an easy one to do. You've got 10 minutes, all the players will want to be defenders on this, so it's a good one just to reset a few times around. We then go into Activity 1, which is going to be a game I call Infinite Goals. So let me run over to see the setup of this one. Okay, so this is really, really simple, and it's a lot of fun. Basically, we have a pile of balls in the middle, and we have 2 teams, and each team is going to be going for the different goal. So in this case, this team is going to be going this way, and this team is going to be going that way. Now, I'm just going to change this to black. I'd like my arrows to be in black, ideally. Okay, good. So basically, a player will grab a ball, they will dribble their ball up. The cone is where they need to get to shoot for a goal. And you'll see here I've put 3 cones down on each goal, and that's basically representing a goalie. Player comes up, they get here, and they shoot for goal. Really, really easy. If a player scores, then that's 1 point for that team. So ideally, you want a coach to count score for each team. So we'll have one coach counting each team. And basically, the first to 12 points I normally play to then wins that game. All right, so it's just a shooting exercise. One player goes, they dribble the ball up, they get to the cone, they shoot, right? If the ball goes in, it's a point. If it hits a goalie or if it misses a goal, then that doesn't count. All right, very, very simple. The other one to look out for is if they just keep dribbling up to the goal and shoot from here. Sometimes, depending on the age, I won't count that one either. Okay, and what you'll find is the teams will get quite competitive with this. They'll really want to win. And we've got 12.5 minutes, so we can run through this a few times. Now, there's a couple of variations that we can do, particularly if you have older kids playing. All right, so one that I like to do is I like to put a cone on either side here. Right, and then basically what we can do is we can say, right, if the ball is scored in here or in here, then that's worth 3 points. Right, very, very simple. The other one that you can do if you don't want to lay the cone down, because that can get a little bit confusing, is that if we just get a sideboard noise. Right, so the best goal hit is usually if we get 2 sounds. We get the sideboard hit and then the backboard hit, because hitting the sideboard is really, really hard for the goalkeeper to try and stop. All right, so it's really simple. Just remember, if you hit your goalie, that doesn't count. I have done it where if you hit a goalie, you get -1. Be careful doing that one though, because you can find that you can get into a never-ending game. But basically, we're just looking to get first to 12. I would try and do this 3 times normally, so you get a best out of 3 scenario. All right, we're then going to do a right side attack. Now, look, I'm a little bit reluctant to introduce this for under sixes. However, if we can get our under sixes doing this, then we're going to be really doing a great job as coaches because it's such a fundamental of hockey. All right. And so I'll explain this one. It should only be, all right, it's two passes if we can get this working right. We did push passing last week. So I'm hoping we can give this a try. Okay. Basically, we have 4 cones set up and we have a goal here. All right. And we have a ball here and we have 2 lines of players. We're just looking for our player to make a pass here, right? So a kind of diagonal pass from one side to the right. We then have our player dribble the ball up. Okay, whilst this player is dribbling with the ball, the player that made the pass is going to run through to this cone. And we then want to see if this player can give a pass back to this cone for our player here to try and shoot for the goal. All right, so it looks complicated, but it's actually 2 passes. It's a 1 pass, a dribble, and a pass and a shot. Right, but we're looking for our players to identify the fact that they're in the center here, they're passing to the right, we're dribbling down, and we're passing back. Okay, so again, this is maybe a little bit hard, but at the same time, I think it's a good one. I think under 8s will have absolutely no problem doing this, and I've run this a few times with under 8s with no difficulty. All right, if you're really struggling to get your kids to do it, then maybe just have them go up in pairs and dribble straight up this way. All right, and maybe have another player running alongside them to try and look to make a pass, and they can work in pairs to try and score a goal. All right, or they can just pass the ball up as they go. But if we can get in the ball to that right side attack and dribble up, then that would be a really, really nice one. All right, so that's our drill for the day. Again, that's our harder activity, the fundamental skill we're trying to introduce, right? But we've done a bit of dribbling, we've done a little bit of passing. So let's see how we go putting it together. All right, we're then going to move on to activity 2, which is a 2v1 goal shooting. So this is similar. Okay, this is quite similar, but there's again enough differences here. Okay, so again, we talked earlier about if for under 6s just having them pass up in pairs. So if you're doing that, you could now introduce a defender, which is all that this is doing. All right, so basically we have what is a tackle box, our normal kind of tackle box that we did in our first lesson, but now we have 2 attackers on it and only 1 defender. This defender can be a coach, particularly to start with. It can be a coach. Okay, for under 8s, they can definitely have a player as a defender in here. For under 6s, you may just want to keep your coach in there. Make this tackle box as wide as it needs to be. Don't be afraid to make this wider. And all we're looking to do here is to encourage our players now. So unlike the first one, where they had to go around the cones, now we're giving them the freedom to pass the ball. Right, so we want to see if they can make a pass in here. Ideally that pass, right? 2 diagonal passes is perfect. That's our 2v1. Okay, again, a fundamental skill to try and introduce at this age. If it's a coach in here, they can just be a shadow defender and try and encourage our players to pass around the defender like this. Once they've beaten the defender, then the 2 players can move forward and they can both shoot for goal. So lots of goal shooting here. We're just looking for them to get around a defender and then shoot for goal. Again, if you're an under 6s, mix this up as you need to. Okay, so if you need to, remove the cones. Okay, just have them work up in pairs around the coach and shoot for goal. All right, very, very simple. Again, if you want to, one of your coaches can go in and be a dummy goalie here as well. So we can introduce lots of different things to do with goal shooting and just let them have fun with it. Kids love shooting for goal, right? That's what we're here to do as hockey players. So let them have some fun. Let them try push passing here for the goal. Let them try hitting the ball for the goal. And the ultimate one, if we can, if we have a player here, let's see if they can pass to that player on the post and pop it in. All right, so you could almost have one coach here giving directions here and another coach here trying to give some advice on how we actually shoot for our goal. All right, let's see how that goes. Okay, at the end then we just go into our small-sided game so we can now see if the kids can adapt some of that goal shooting techniques that we did. Yeah, so this has been number 3. I've got another 3 lessons to do after this week, so definitely do subscribe. And just to note, I also do have lesson plans for older kids through to senior hockey on the YouTube channel. Thanks again. I'll see you next week.